Test, ladies and gentlemen, for a closer look at Game 2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll actually get to that replay later in the discussion, D-Man. But for now, let's go back to picks and bans. Balls with a fairly early lock-in of that Maokai. I feel like he didn't have the biggest impact during the course of the matchup, whether or not you agree or disagree with that. But something that definitely was countered well was high Zed. It felt like Samsung Blue had a good answer to that.
Yeah, before we talk a little bit about picks and bans, I wanted to just say that Blue, in terms of just their champion selection this game, they went back to their comfort picks. We talked about Acorn. He's only played 2 games ever previously on Italy. Rumble's his most played champion of all time. We talk about Hart. Thresh is his most played champion of all time. Yeah, he had it again this game like he did last game. And of course, Dade is renowned for his TF play. The crowd went nuts when he locked in TF.
Yeah, the Elise for Meteor, 0-2 this tournament. Elise 5-10. We can take that graphic down for the time being as we move on the discussion. Let's talk about some of the early game. Nowhere near as dominant for Cloud9 this time around. They got those head-to-head lanes once more, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. Crepper, how is Cloud9 playing early game?
I think Cloud9 started out pretty strong, but something I want to highlight of what Blue did well is their Black Shield manipulation. So we saw it in the bot lane the first time in a 2v2 where Hart basically flays one target back, fakes the hook on one target, and he will aim it so he will force Lemonation to Black Shield sneaky, and then the hook will go towards Lemonation. Yeah, you say that's standard Thresh into Morgana play, but the second time, the beauty really was when Dade teleported bottom, he teleported slightly behind Lemonation, and Lemonation, I think it's like land scares or he was black shielding for another reason, but he black shielded early. Dade waited out, locked in gold card, but then sent out his wild cards, procced the Morgana shield, and then stunned Morg right after. And just the awareness of black shield, not only in those instances, you have it in many other fights, but it's always in these little things, shows that why they're so good at this game, because those nitty-gritty things get me all way too excited sometimes.
We've got 2 replays to get to, so Freak will get to yours just after this point. Let's pull the first top lane play up. And Monty, I know you wanted to comment on this interaction between Balls and Acorn.
Right. This was right after Dade had died in the mid lane to High. And, you know, in League of Legends, there's always an advantage you can get somewhere else. And he's going to use it, that free base that he got. You know, he didn't die. It's just a free base. But to actually make a play here on the Dragon. So Cloud9's going for the Dragon. Let's watch what happens and roll this as we get into the top lane here. Now, Balls didn't see the initial teleport, and if he had flashed, he would have made it, but you don't think about flashing at that time. The base that Dade got allows him to just combine with that Rumble ultimate. I mean, just fantastic coordination, but with every kind of loss in League of Legends, there's also another opportunity.
And this game felt like it was built off of, just kind of like the Samsung White versus TSM games, a whole bunch of very small individual incremental advantages. Meteos, you actually heard Danny talk about it, Elise versus Kha'Zix. You've got to make the moves early on. You've got to do more than your opponent. First Blood, good job Meteos. Showing up top, nearly worked out. All the ganks nearly work out, but Dade's there every single time. Or the TP comes down for Rumble in time and turns it around. There were like a half dozen in a row of Samsung Blue just turning it around. And you saw how well Samsung Blue fought with a gold parity or gold advantage, and I talked about that with the last game, like, oh, how close they fought despite the deficit. What I meant was, as soon as they get gold parity, look how strong they're going to be, and you're seeing it here.
And just like you said, the TPs that they're using, like we have a replay right now just showing how great Samsung Blue's TP usage was. If you can pull that up, that'd be good. Anyways,
I know that feeling, Peter.
Like D-Man was saying, Deft is the one who's baiting C9 into all these fights. So you can roll it right now. You can see he's just doing its standard Twitch gank down. But what's not standard about it is just this amazing coordination. Heart's on the right with a lantern. Potentially, I think Deft kind of misplaced by flashing away from the lantern. But you see, Acorn immediately TPs in. Adada is right on point with that TF port. And there's no reason for Balls to have chased this Deathmark Twitch. He actually kind of suicided and baited his entire team. Heart with this amazing flash hook, and just everyone just gets cleaned up right here by Samsung Blue, because Acorn's damage at this point is on a huge spike. He's on his Leandri's Sword Shoes spike, and it's just impossible to teamfight this.
I think it's just really good to see how well Blue plays in regards to picks. They pick really well, and they respond to picks so well. Dade is always ready to move, even especially when he plays TF, he will always teleport in. And that's what baffled me the most about Game 1. They ran a poke composition when their strength lies around reading the map, reacting to picks, or just picking people off themselves. So I hope, for Blue's sake, that they stick to it. I hope for Cloud9's sake that we see another rendition of the poke comp.
Well, very, very strong play from Samsung Blue. They bounced back from a very heavy loss in Game 1. Cloud9 looked rattled in this particular game. Double, if maybe talk to me about the individual misplays we saw that we didn't see in Game 1. What was different this time around?
I'm glad you asked that, because I think last game was a really big misrepresentation of how strong Cloud9's early game was. It really snowballed off of that first blood, and Hart had 10 deaths in the first game. This game, he had 0. So they didn't really, were not able to snowball this game off of Hart's missed positions like they were in the first game. And I think Samsung Blue just had a way better picks and bans phase. TF is historically a big counter to Zed because when he's split pushing, TF has that global pressure.
All right, so we do have to move on to the social media segment. Earlier in the show, we asked you guys what's been your favorite moment from Worlds so far and why. And we got a ton of great responses. Thank you very much. It was quite difficult to narrow them down, but here's just a brief sample of what you've been saying. From My Name is Lyroot, the heart-stopping moment when Fnatic was a hit away from advancing on, had to break out the defibrillator after that one. We'll just rattle through these. At OmniSynced, my favorite moment has got to be Cloud9 shouting, "This is for Kaboom," when they were Naj in White Shield's Nexus. And I know Freak actually mentioned that this morning. And then at Doc Anime, he tweets, Team Solo Mid killing Samsung White in the level 1 invade during Game 3 shows that even gods can be killed when complacent.
Yeah.
And I think that's true.
Yeah, and we even had a great moment here as well. High going full Sam Fisher. It proved that he didn't have to play AD carry to be sneaky this game. Or maybe that he grew up in San Francisco because he knew how to play with Fog so well. Crepo, you have any...
Do you want to carry on? You want to carry on? Full ninja? Right, anyway. Yeah, we're all done. Guys,
enough, boys.
Thank you for sending those to us. And remember that you can tweet your fellow World Championship fans throughout the games by using the hashtag Worlds.